You did it. We came to you with a heartfelt request to help us make our YouTube URL not so ugly.
And you guys absolutely delivered. Thank you from the very bottom of our hearts for our brand new YouTube URL, youtube.com/play.Q.U.I.R.K.
We did it. Thank you so much. And we're going to continue to work hard to be worthy of your support. Do check us out, youtube.com/play.Q.U.I.R.K. We look forward to giving you tons of great videos. Something you want to see, let us know. But check us out.
youtube.com/play.Q.U.I.R.K.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. And welcome to Behind the Blocks, the live show that gives you a deeper look into the devs behind the game Q.U.I.R.K. That's us, right here. I'm UGW Tim Bear, and joining me today is...
Dakota, or Dakokopuffs, whichever you prefer.
And I'm UGW Ether, co-community nerd.
Yeah, and you are not community. What do you do?
I'm a UI UX designer.
So what does that mean? UI, UX might be a different or a new concept for folks who are tuning in.
It is. It's kind of a new... It's a newer field in the games industry. A lot of people, like Genie, have been doing it for years. But just recently, they've came out with the title and said, hey, this is what we are.
Yeah.
And we kind of make the game usable, and we make players' lives easier.
Yeah, that's right. I like it is a newer role, but not a new job. It's something that as people began to develop games and become a little bit more advanced in games as a service, you'll hear that kind of thing. It's more than just how the game plays. It's how the game feels.
Yeah.
So UI is the user interface, the bits and pieces that you see around your screen, or HUD, heads-up display, as it's called. And then UX is actually even a newer sort of development, but that user experience and really telling, like, what's the story of the user? Where are they when they play the game? What are they feeling at a particular moment in the game? What kind of emotions do we want them to have? And how easy do we want the game to feel while they're playing? Yeah. It's really cool stuff. I do want to say super kudos to Dakota. He's really brought a level of polish and flow. It's
gorgeous.
It's incredible.
And like, what's neat about it is I feel like we've only seen part of your talent. Like, we have what we have in games now, but like seeing the work that you're doing for the future
is really,
so
really
good.
exciting. Yeah, we get to look at this stuff, and what's great about it is that Dakota actually mocks up what the flow is for a particular feature. So we're looking at social features, we're looking at everything from like map submission to how you build to signing up and creating an account and all of that good stuff. Talk to me right now, Dakota. So when you look at all of the different things that you're working on, what are you most excited for?
That's a good question. I feel like I'm most excited for the tinkering, as we call it, the crafting.
Okay.
That kind of was my second project when I came here.
Yeah.
And I got to see it kind of grow and develop, and I'm really excited about the new iteration that we're doing, because I'm constantly taking feedback from people in the office and people in the community, and I'm taking that and putting it into the new stuff, and it's really exciting.
And for those of you who are playing Q.U.I.R.K on the PC, you're not going to necessarily know what tinkering is all about, and that's okay, because we're going to tell you a little bit. So essentially, it is the how you evolve and level up within Q.U.I.R.K. You're able to add new components to your weapons, to change the way that they act, to add a bunch of new features like leeching hit points or
healing.
Healing.
It's kind of the progression of Q.U.I.R.K. Like right now for the
Yes.
PC, it's build your maps, play, and then tinkering is supposed to give you that added goal, like an actual
Yeah.
physical goal for you guys to, there's levels and stuff and
loadouts
so
that
good.
you get to change, and it really is the meta game. It's the how do I build up my
Your arsenal,
my arsenal to compete against other players.
Yeah. Also, hi Lurker, hi Pain Dog Star, Pain Dark Star, hi Dog Star. I just want to shout out to you guys. For those of you just joining us, we are hanging out with our UI/UX engineer Dakota. We're going to be asking him a ton of questions, and if you have questions of your own, pop them in chat. We are paying attention. I'm sure Dakota would love to hear them. And we're going to get to this too.
What's
right
happening
now.
here? We got a bunch of stuff happening on this table. So, we do something different every week. This is really a time for staff to kind of show off and share some of their talents. Now, you happen to be a tea freak.
Yeah.
That was the rudest way to put that.
I guess. I'm a tea guy.
A tea aficionado.
Yeah.
I see it
Yes.
like that.
We love it.
love
There's a lot of tea drinkers here in the office.
There are. I feel like there's as many tea drinkers as there are coffee drinkers. Like half the team goes and gets a cup of coffee, and half the team now drinks tea.
See,
at
I
their desk.
appreciate tea drinkers because I feel like it's more of an art. It's more of a, like for me, if we had IV drips of caffeine, that's what I would be doing. But tea drinkers, like there's a
Sort
you
of.
got like weeds and flowers and
It's-
things, and
It's either really nice like Dakota, or it's my desk where I've left tea in for a couple days and haven't cleaned my teapot in a week. So
Fair
there's
enough.
really...
well, that's the
Still a
thing. There's a little more
horizon.
work on the tea side of things.
Yeah, that's why
when
it's
you're
so-
as busy as we are, you may not necessarily.
We're animals. Don't.
We're just undisciplined
Don't
animals.
sugarcoat this. Let's be real. Tea and half calf are bae.
I've done like tea and things like half calf and sweetened condensed milk and all that. That's all.
Yeah.
What's a half calf? Is
Isn't
this
it-
like tea
isn't
in
it
your
like-
coffee?
What? Isn't it just like half milk or?
Oh, yeah, I think it's a little milk. Like chai tea goes really well with like cream
Yeah.
and half and
it's
half.
Like that, the half and.
Yeah. It's a small. It's an actual cow.
Okay, all right. Yeah, that's good.
Unique way to drink tea.
Doesn't that become soup?
I don't know.
you-
I'm
when
so
you just put a
hungry
cow in
already.
it?
though. Half regular, yeah. Oh, half decaf. Oh, okay.
Oh, half
Okay,
regular coffee.
because you wrote calf with calf like a baby cow.
No,
So we were like, but yeah, half caffeine. That's how I normally.
Oh,
think
that's
of half
interesting.
calf.
Cheese and vodka.
How about ground beef? Okay, that's
more my speed, I think. If by beans you mean fava beans.
Ooh, we're not doing this. I like green tea too. Shout out to green tea.
Shout
Probably
out.
my favorite.
Green tea. is-
That's
yeah.
very
I like green
caffeinated.
tea candy. But anyway, so
It's my
tell
inner
me about
cow
your,
coming.
like, when did you just grow up into a family of tea drinkers, or did you develop this snobbery? I mean, this.
Wow.
No, I'm kidding. This
The
artistry.
snootery.
The snootery. No, did you develop, like, your love of tea over time, or.
That's a good question. So
I asked those.
thank you.
You're welcome.
When I was growing up, my mom would always have sweet tea in the house. My mom's side of the family is from the south, so we'd always have sweet tea in the house.
Yum.
And I would just drink that all the time, right?
That's so good.
Whenever I'd go over to my grandma's house, my mom's mom, we'd always have sweet tea. It's fantastic stuff.
So
And
yeah, I
would
love it.
Drink
It's- I mean, I only have it when I'm in Austin, Texas. but-
And when I started, like, growing up, I guess, my dad would always drink tea in the mornings. So I guess you could say that we
It's
were
like a tea family.
Yeah,
family.
tea family. That's
Yeah.
adorable.
And I just kind of got really into tea. It's just kind of a deep hole that you.
Yeah,
You
So-
just fell into that hole.
Culturally, tea is very, very important
Oh, yeah.
in many different cultures. And, I, having traveled just a bit for work in China, went through just a really fantastic and intricate tea ceremony, and it was super interesting. I mean, it was
That's
definitely
awesome.
more than just give me to the caffeine. It was something. It was ritual. It was cultural. So I can see how. I mean, it can be a deep
it's
hole.
a deep
Yeah,
hole.
Yeah. Okay.
A lot of significance to everything.
Yeah.
It kind of terrifies me. Like, could you imagine like messing up your tea and then you're shamed for your family? Like, I don't know. That gives me.
I
That
think
makes
I told
me
you
so
this.
anxious.
At one point, I had officiated for a dear friend's wedding, and they had a tea ceremony that Japanese tea ceremony,
Yeah.
Sansen Kudo. I believe, and apologies if I'm not pronouncing that right. No offense meant, but it's that same tenseness. Basically, I had to pour tea 3 times. Now this is in front of everybody, and the.
Are you gonna do that today for
No,
us?
ma'am. No.
No,
But
I'll be pouring the tea.
You think? Yeah.
Okay, shame. You're gonna be
Yeah,
shamed out of you,
I'll
Jen,
be spilling it.
if you
And
mess
I
this
poured
up.
3 cups of tea for every person who was standing in front of me, and it would turn out to be like 36 cups of tea.
Wow.
It was crazy, but it was important, and I was like, that's why you're going to be handling the tea.
Yes, and Pain Duck Star, I do like that idea having a mix-off. We should have a mix-off on one of these streams.
I like it. What's a mix-off?
Well, I think we all make like our favorite drink, and then like, I guess
Hey.
get
Oh.
judged,
I like it.
and then just get judged.
I approach my beverages, my evening beverages also. Well, yeah, my
This is
spirited beverages
getting
in the
worse.
same way that I approach my coffee beverages. Like, just get me,
Just
Give
get
me
in
tea.
there and go.
just get me there. But that's not what this is about. This is about tea. So talk to us a little bit about what's going on here.
So this is called Gong Fu style tea. Again, I might pronounce all of these wrong, so just letting you know. This is Gong Fu style tea, and it's traditionally served. You can't really see that. There's some tea in here, some tea leaves.
Oh yeah, it's like super dark. Maybe we
Yeah.
can put just a little in there.
Yeah, maybe I can fix that.
Put a flashlight on it.
I just realized something. We forgot to say hi to Kelly, the video wizard.
Oh, hi.
Kelly, hi Kelly.
Sorry,
Hi.
Kels. Kels Bells is our video wizard and all-around good pal. She'll be partaking of tea as well.
Yes,
Yes.
we have 4 cups here, so she'll be the floating hand that reaches in.
Yeah.
Tea,
Hulu
please.
says
Alright,
tea,
I
please.
think that might be a little better.
Tea, please.
Yeah. Oh, cute.
I like your new emote.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Look at that.
Look at that tea.
So,
it smells so good.
There's some oolong tea in here.
Ooh, long.
And
Ooh, no. And this is selected by Timber's sniffer.
Yeah,
Nice.
I just smelled it and I was
You were
like,
like,
this is
"This
it.
is the
It's
one."
definitely betrayed me before with tea, but for the most, so we're gonna see how this goes.
I-
So now you smelled both.
Yeah, I
and you
smelled
picked
both.
this one because
This one had. Let me re-smell because I don't remember which one I
You're
picked.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. It had a sweeter. I'm not a huge fan of sweet teas, but there was a underlying.
that
I
one
can-
smelled more complex to me as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It wasn't quite as earthy, I think, as the other one.
Yeah.
if I remember.
The other one is a lighter tea, so it kind of tastes like green and leafy.
Okay.
Oh, that sounds so good. Quick question for everyone, including Kelly. Favorite type of tea? Go.
Oh, what's that? Market Spice.
Market Spice?
Yeah.
Wow.
Nice. Going right for the most trendy
Yeah, just
Seattle Market
immediate-
Spice blend.
So what is Market Spice tea?
It's kind of like a cinnamony,
Orange, yeah.
orangey
Type of-
Yeah, it's a very American tea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a good way to put it.
The store Market Spice in Pike Place Market. Pretty well-known store around here, at least. That's their like
No big
flagship tea.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I mean, it's just,
All right.
you know.
We
Seattle.
have
just Seattle.
Coffee and Dr. Pepper in chat.
Wow, yeah.
Thanks,
Ooh.
chat.
Dr. Pepper. That is not a thing.
What about
Alright.
you?
You?
Oh,
Can't choose.
See?
Yeah, I know,
Like
no,
my
this is a
tea
tough
is
one.
very
Like,
so expensive.
describe when you
this
drink
is
them.
this is a tough question, right? I tell people that my favorite tea is jasmine tea.
Okay.
Because if anybody hands me a pot of jasmine tea, and that's kind of the most common tea, you go to like a Chinese restaurant and they'll hand you a pot of jasmine tea. It's really easy to make. It's almost always good, right?
Okay. Hard to go wrong with
Hard to
jasmine
go
tea.
wrong with
Okay.
jasmine tea. I personally drink a lot of black tea, though.
Okay.
Caffeinated.
Actually, caffeine doesn't do much to me.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't.
Yeah, caffeinated, no caffeinated.
It's all the
It's
same.
all the
It's the
same.
same
thing.
way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So, yeah, I drink a lot of black tea just because I think that's what I grew up with, and that's what I like.
Minus the sweetness.
Yeah, minus the sweetness. And that one's also really easy to make. But I ever so often I'll bring out my Gaiwan
Okay.
and have a nice oolong.
I was gonna say your good teas. These are
Yeah,
like
this is my-
the
this is
China
my
cups
good-
of
This
teas.
is the fancy.
Yeah.
This is the
Yeah.
good
For
stuff.
the guests.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like
The
it.
guest
Now,
towels of tea.
what is in it? Can you tell us what it's made of?
What tea is?
Oolong.
What? I like
What's
the
like
what tea is made
incredulous.
of? Yeah.
like,
What is
You're
tea
like
made of?
water and weeds.
well, tea is a leaf,
Yeah.
and then tea is made by taking that leaf and oxidizing it and wilting it, and then certain teas are made by certain levels of that oxidization and wilting.
Okay, this is very good. This is a good
You really know
explanation.
your stuff.
I was going
Like
for
I
the
said, it's a
ingredients
deep hole.
in,
It's a
deep
in
hole,
an
yeah.
oolong tea. It has oolong.
Where do
What's
the
in
leaves
there?
come
So,
Please
like,
teach this plebeian.
Do you know like what are the leaves from?
This is I don't know how to pronounce it. A traditional Taekwondo.
Show the camera.
Okay.
Again, I pronounced that wrong.
Yeah, put it in your palm so that.
yeah.
It is a little
Back up a little.
leaf, right? That has
Yeah.
been. Oh, can I back up more?
Eaten by a rabbit.
Yeah.
And left.
Yeah. Can you
Yeah,
just
that's
like eat it?
So it's been. I mean, you can if you want.
I'm curious.
So what they do is they oxidize it to a certain level, and then they kind of roll it into this little ball, and then dry it, and that's how it gets to this level. Oops, I dropped it. Oh, well.
It's actually not bad to just like pop it in.
Yeah.
I imagine it's kind of like the grasshoppers in consistency a little bit.
Oh,
like kind of,
right.
it has that crunch.
Timber's referring to wow, I would say that was our first video
Yeah.
that we ever did.
Oh, yeah, we
It
should try to find
we
that.
should resurrect it.
Yeah.
But she ate flavored insects of the grasshopper.
My only
variety.
complaint was that it was also old.
Yeah,
Like I
so
feel
it's
like it was
stale.
not.
So you're saying this is like that,
It's kind of like crunchy, yeah.
crunchy like that,
Yeah.
but not.
It's
okay.
slowly getting uncrunchy, and now it's my nightmare. But at like the first, like it's starting to rehydrate in my mouth, and I don't like that.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
I'll put anything in my mouth. Like, but that was pretty good.
Alrighty.
I
Alright.
enjoyed that.
Speaking of the opposite of what we're talking about,
Speaking
we have.
of, let's
Yep.
brew.
Let's
So
brew.
what do
Yeah,
you
we
do?
ready?
So
Let's brew it.
Let's brew it.
Brew it to it.
the first thing that you do when making a tea, Kung Fu style.
We will read the chat.
Yes.
answer it live on
However,
stream.
we will not be answering any inappropriate questions, and you will be politely
They just let
shown
them
the
know
door.
your fast food and soda favorites.
Oh,
Huh?
what
Oh,
favorite
I'm so
fast food
sorry.
soda? That's a good question.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so it's kind of the opposite of tea, but yeah.
Yeah, no, I was like, oh, you were calling out that question. Favorite fast
Oh.
food?
Stirring it with the lid.
I like that.
fancy.
So the first steeping that you do
yeah.
is to get out all of the tea dust that happens when it
That's my favorite part.
when it like dries.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna take this and dump it.
Whoa. Okay, that's why it has the tray at the
That
bottom.
has the tray.
This
Wow,
looks kind of
I did not
awesome.
see that coming.
That's so
That's
cool.
awesome.
The twist.
And then it starts to unfurl itself.
Yeah, that's what it did. That's
Yeah.
exactly
it was
that
unfurling
process
in your
was
mouth. Yeah.
what happened in my mouth.
Okay.
That's amazing.
And then the second one we drink.
okay.
Very nice.
Now, how long
Getting
do
a
you
lot of
let
good
it?
sounds.
How long does the second steeping happen?
Normally about 30 seconds. It doesn't take.
Oh,
that long.
gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so while you're pouring, what is your favorite fast food and soda?
I don't drink soda,
So soda water.
so
Sparkle water?
no, not even sparkle water.
Nothing
Anything
carbonated.
Nothing
at all?
carbonated. I'm
Wow.
not a carbonated guy.
Okay.
Fast food. I don't eat a lot of fast food. Panda Express is good. I think somebody said
Yeah,
that
yeah, I think
in
so,
the
yeah.
chat.
Yeah, I can't really do.
Ace.
Can't really
I
do.
guess.
Yeah, Ace,
I
random
was gonna-
funny questions, totally cool.
Totally cool.
We appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks, Ace.
What about your?
Whoa.
I didn't do that. I didn't
That's
spill.
pretty funny. Wait.
The nightmare is a literal nightmare.
Literal nightmare.
Oh
Is it-
boy.
am I on it now?
Let's see. We're just trying to. After
Sure,
that,
good enough.
vanilla Coke. I do like cherry Coke when I was drinking soda.
You know,
I
I
do.
used to like vanilla Coke until I tried Carmex, the lip stuff, and vanilla
Oh.
Coke just tastes like Carmex.
Oh, that's interesting.
I would say that my favorite
got it?
soda is probably a root beer or a Dr. Pepper.
Yeah.
That's
a
my
good
favorite
choice.
Fast food. That's a tough one.
It's a tough one. I think I have to go with like the standard McDonald's. I love the nuggies. I love the nuggets. I love the
I
nuggets.
have to say McDonald's probably as well, just because it's so.
It's just
It's just what it is.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's and sometimes I crave it. Like sometimes, like I haven't had it in months and months and months. But like
Yeah.
sometimes, you just have to have a Big Mac. You just have to have it.
I kind of associate McDonald's and fast food with conventions, and so it's
Yeah.
always kind of fun. Like,
Oh,
it's
yeah, I
always-
could
you know
see
what I mean?
that.
Like it's
Yeah.
buying 50, Big Macs for people who are working late.
Yeah.
See, that sounds
or whatever,
great.
But yeah.
Like there's nothing more rewarding than like just exhaustion and then
And then
And then a burger.
matter, and then matter.
Yeah.
But that was a good question. Anybody
That's a good
else
yeah.
with questions? Yeah.
I
So
can't-
local Seattle burgeteria.
Burgerium?
Dick's Deluxe is pretty darn good.
I keep hearing that. Oh, I want to
never
live
been
in this
there.
tea.
Oh, that's nice.
That's nice.
Oh.
That's really good.
Yeah. Thank you.
See, now
Who was
I-
the hand? Oh, that was
Yes.
that was Kelly,
That's-
our video wizard.
Yes, my
Yeah.
disembodied voice became an arm for a second. And then I reached
I immediately pictured behind the camera now is just a hand like this with headphones.
Hey guys, your mics are on. They're still on.
Did we see the
I like it.
auto review message?
Yeah,
Yes.
it was about Dick's Deluxe.
Yeah,
Oh, sure.
our filter's on really tight.
Yeah, as well it should be. Who is that hand that appeared at the... Oh, yeah, that was funny. Sorry. I'm just catching up.
Could you move your mic a little closer to you and point
me?
it at your mouth? Yeah, just
Just
hi.
stop it. Don't put it in your mouth.
I can't.
Oh,
No, sorry.
It's just a little quiet.
Is it good?
so yeah,
It's very good.
My,
I really enjoy it.
I have a question.
Sure.
What is the purpose of smaller? I'm used to drinking in like coffee mugs.
Yeah.
Why? What is the advantage of drinking it out of cups for ants?
So
ants.
having these tiny cups here. So using
Oh.
oops. So
Yeah,
Gonku
cute.
style tea is made with more tea than water, right? There's more tea in it than there is water, and then you brew it multiple times. So the tiny cups are for multiple people to try the same
Oh, so it's sharing.
cup. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a literal cup
That's
of water.
adorable. That made me love it even more, and I would like to share some more of that
I
tea.
would too.
The hands of video excellence. Ooh, this is my favorite bit.
I like it. So while we're enjoying this oolong tea from Dakota, who is our UI/UX designer here at UGen, I want to talk a little bit about your philosophy when it comes to user experience, because people have such a wide variety of tastes and expectations, and how do you when you're making a video game, you want to cast as wide a net as possible.
Yeah.
So how do you take into account, we'll start with just taste or preference.
So for that's it. For Designing UI, one of my top things that I try to uphold to is simplicity.
Okay.
Is that I try
I like
to make sure that the player knows exactly what to do on a given screen.
All right.
Now, whether my designs come through with that in practice is another story. But when I design, I try to keep as little information on the screen as possible. I don't want to overload them. I try to break things up into kind of bite-sized pieces.
Sure.
But not so small that you kind of go, why am I getting this tiny cup?
So you'd say
Right,
it's
yeah,
like
yes,
this
yeah.
size?
I'm
Yeah.
expecting
Instead.
a bigger cup. Yeah,
Yeah.
I gotcha.
So
Okay.
it's like, yeah, you kind of get a mug full and you're like, oh, this is a pretty good size. I can deal with this.
Yeah.
Rather
Yeah.
than getting a pint and getting something like this. And
Yeah,
going,
I like.
what do I do?
Like this
Right,
very
right. Trying to
visual
parse
comparison.
too
yeah.
much information, and then not enough information. Moments where people are, is the person in the middle and the person on the right a
Couple of fun people.
Oh yeah, we are a couple of fun people. So Ace, just a little explanation. We are game devs making the game called Q.U.I.R.K. Out for PC, Mac, Vive, and mobile in the Philippines.
Yep.
So this is our behind the blocks where we kind of talk about not just the game, but our fellow devs as well.
Yeah.
Troy and I are the community team, and then
That's
we have
right.
our UX designer. And every week we try to have a different guest or play games or just give you guys an insight into our studio, which is you, Jen.
Yeah, and we do this every Wednesday for a couple reasons. One, we like to share the good works of the people that make up our studio. And we like to interact with our community. And we just thought it was a great way to talk both about, to get a little bit of background for you on who the people are that are making Q.U.I.R.K, but in addition to share design intention and to talk a little bit about the, each one of our disciplines focuses on a specialty. Now we're a small studio of 13 people now, 12 people?
I think we're up to
16.
16,
Yeah, we're
17.
16 now.
17? Well, we have a small crew on purpose. It makes it so that we wear all kinds of hats at any given point. And so it's nice to be able to kind of sit and just have a dialogue about who the people are and what we're working on.
Yeah.
And it also gives you a little glimpse of what's to come.
Yeah, it gives you guys a direct link to us as
Yeah,
well, like
yeah.
from chat and all that. So, yeah.
Thank you, Payne Darkstar.
Thanks, Payne.
Yeah, and that's why. So today with Dakota, who you'll know in game or around Digital Town as UGW_Dakokopuffs.
Aw, thanks, Ace, for the follow. Much appreciated.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Troy,
That's nice.
can you check your pack and make sure it's on?
Check my pack. It does not look like it's on.
Oh no.
That's why. Oh, hi.
Hey,
You're back. Thank you.
Now you'll be able to hear us
This
even
little-
more better.
Even
More
better.
good.
Better,
Even more
better.
gooder.
More good.
So, as our UI UX designer, you partner with UGW Lavender, who is also a genius her name is Jeannie and I call her Genius, when it comes to designing user experiences. Jeannie's got that eye and that understanding. We gush about Jeannie all the time, so,
Buckle in.
buckle in. But the two of you together really make an incredible force for evolving our game. We have some of the fundamentals are in there, but then you see the UI work, and it just catapults the game into an entirely different place.
Yeah.
It's pretty phenomenal to watch. When you decided, because you do more than just UI UX, right? I mean, you've had experience designing games, and talk a little bit about what brought you here. So, who was Dakota before you, Jen, before Q.U.I.R.K?
Oh, you think? I thought he always just like crawled out of the computer.
He was just born
just
here.
crawled
He was
out of
just born here.
Born upon us.
Born upon us.
So Yeah, I was back in the day.
Back in the day.
Back in the
As you can tell by his face, he is
Yeah.
300 years old.
Yeah, I'm an old man.
Back in the day.
Back in the day. No.
That was a very good
I can't do it.
Started
old
with
man voice.
Pong.
Let me tell you, whippersnappers.
All right, so back in the day.
I started. Let me tell you. So in high school, right? I went through 2 years of high school, and then, like normal, I did my credits and stuff, and then junior year and senior year of high school, I went to community college, trying to get my associate's degree in arts or whatever you want to call it, and then two, kind of figure out what I wanted to do. So I took a bunch of classes. I took everything from astronomy to archaeology to
Astrology.
the psychology, all of the things, right?
Not astrology.
The study of the stars.
I like how he just jumped right over that.
Yep, I
and
just-
yeah. Apologies if you hear a bunch of weird hammering and drilling, and I might actually pop up to go tell them to stop for a minute.
Good luck.
Yes, but do go on.
I'll continue my story while I brew some tea. So, so while in community college, I found out that I like to do everything. Right?
Jack of all trades.
I'm a learner, so I just like learning things. And if you guys know me at all, for some reason I have this thing with fun facts. I'll just yell out fun fact every now and then and get
Why
good.
don't I hear those?
Huh?
Or do you shout them out
I'm
in the office?
I'm a little shy.
He quietly shouts
Yeah,
them to
just
only
like-
himself.
That's hilarious. Fun
Fun
fact.
facts.
So
Hey, Dakota,
What's a fun-
fun fact?
fun fact.
Do you have a fun fact for us now?
Do I have
I
it?
feel like I'm owed one now.
Well, fun fact. Tea is
Tea is
let
delicious.
me tell you about tea. So,
It's funny. I went out to go tell the guy. I was like, "Hey, we're doing a live broadcast, and he's like, "Sorry," and then it seems like he got louder. So that's what's going on. But fun fact.
well, fun fact. I like to learn. I'm just gonna continue my story.
No, I like it.
So, I've always played video games. I grew up playing Pokemon. That's how I learned to read, actually.
It was
I
Pokemon. That's
was
so
Playing
cool.
Pokemon Blue. I'd always run up to my mom and be like, "Mom, how do you pronounce this word?" And she'd be like, "I don't know, sound it out."
I love
Ace is my new favorite follower.
Ace
I'm
is
sorry.
right.
Bradley.
Yeah, Ace, you're welcome anytime.
Yeah,
Ace
Bradley.
says, "Fun fact, Bradley, the guy in the middle. That's my guess for his name."
Kane Darkstar thinks you look like our main character.
Yeah.
Loves to tell fun
Bradley.
facts.
Bradley looks
Bradley?
like our main character for sure.
Ace, I can see where you'd pull that.
Yeah.
I can see that. Yeah.
I do like to tell fun facts.
So you like to learn.
I like to
and-
learn, and I like to play video games. And I discovered a college up here in Redmond called DigiPen.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, I think.
Now you
I know
are
that
you?
you two have heard of it.
Yeah.
We definitely have. Yeah. Yeah. DigiPen, a very popular school, very that trains and educates and.
I think that's where we got Jack as well, our concept
Jack,
artist.
yeah,
And Corey.
yeah,
And Corey,
and
yeah.
Corey as
Yeah.
well. All UGen superstars,
Yeah.
So we definitely know those folks really, really well. We've actually done presentations and have gone to the school. So were you a Seattle kid?
No, I was born in Ohio.
Oh,
Yeah, I was born in
Oh,
Ohio,
Ohio.
moved out to Yakima, Washington in
Oh.
8th grade, right before 8th grade.
yuck.
Um,
I mean, hey.
it's bad. Yeah, so, and then I discovered DigiPen, right? I think I was watching a YouTube video and they played a game from DigiPen and I was like, oh, that's cool, and I did some research. And then found out that that weekend they were doing an open house, and I was like, "Hey, Mom, it's free. Let's drive up to Redmond
And check it out.
Check it out.
That's a long drive from Yakima.
It feels like
2.5
fate, though.
hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, walked in the door, knew that that's the place I wanted to go to.
You just
Moved
knew.
in.
That's
Just knew
so
it.
Moved in.
awesome.
And then then I went in 4 years later, came out. Now
There
I'm
you are.
here.
And there you are.
Yeah, we picked you up pretty fresh out of there, huh?
Yeah, a couple months after I graduated.
Wow.
Now, how did you find us?
I'm not sure, actually.
Maybe you. I think you actually were born here.
I might have been.
Yeah.
Oh,
That was a
Bradley.
good backstory we gave
Is
him,
it
though.
ZipRecruiter,
Yeah.
Dakota?
Hmm?
ZipRecruiter?
No,
No.
it wasn't a recruiter. I think it was through I don't know, like a recruiting website type
Yeah.
of deal.
Maybe
You
like a
posted.
But I think
LinkedIn.
Kelly said like a zip recruiter.
Oh,
Like the website
yeah.
ZipRecruiter.com.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
ZipRecruiter. That's
Yeah.
right.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah, that's it.
I never heard of ZipRecruiter until we started using it.
Yeah. Yeah. I heard it on podcasts, many podcasts,
Many
many podcasts. Anyway,
So
cool.
yeah, at DigiPen, I was trained as a game designer, so just like a general game design,
Yeah.
do the thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a little bit of level design experience, and mechanics and systems and all of that.
Okay.
Do you think that is a boon? I imagine it would be, but a boon to the current work that you're doing with user experience
Oh,
and
yeah.
stuff, having that
I-
background.
I think so.
Yeah.
Because I think it helps with, like, user experience is kind of like kind of touches everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's like, why does this level not feel the way that I want it to feel? Or why does this mechanic feel cheaty when I want it to feel like progression?
Sure.
And things like that.
Yeah, I also UX, UI, UX we'll talk about really does touch on every discipline because it is as much about where am I pulling this data that I want to show and how am I taking the gameplay experience and layering on an understanding of how you get from point A to Z. And I find it incredibly fascinating. I think as community nerds, it's something we do naturally.
Sorry,
for
I'm
sure.
giggling at Chad. Chad is cracking me up.
I'll
Richard,
take
so you're
Richard.
Richard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll take Jasmine's cute.
Sure.
And yeah,
Yeah,
way
I like
less
it.
weird than my actual name, so
Yeah.
let's do it.
I like it. But yeah, so the whole concept of UI stuff is a blessing for community managers because we are the ones that collect the feedback on what people think about the game and oftentimes bear the brunt of questionable design choices, or it's less about questionable design choices I found and more about missing components.
Yeah. I think that's a really good point, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm not a designer, but I feel like you kind of, and I do this with articles, where I'll lock myself up and design it, and I think it's like really good, and then like I'll hand it to Troy and realize that my sentence structure is a nightmare, but like in my head, and I think that's really, it's less questionable design and more everything's great in your head and while you're doing it, and if you're doing it alone, and it's not till players go, hey, I don't know about this thing.
Yeah. Well,
They can never
here's
say
another thing too. I think as our industry evolves, the UI designer is also really dependent upon metrics and gathering data and details about what are players doing, because games would be so much fun if it weren't for the players. They're always ruining stuff and breaking things.
Yeah. So that's how they feel.
Yes, yeah. But jokes aside, how much does, beyond just identifying sort of what you want players to do, how much do analytics and data and that kind of stuff influence your design choices?
It influences it greatly, actually. It's we get a lot of like filter data to see like when people aren't engaging with a certain step, maybe in the menus or in like map submissions or something like that. And we figure out, hey, a lot of people are dropping off at this point. We make some hypotheses about why that might happen. It might be that I named the buttons submit rather than confirm or something like that. And they don't want to commit to a submit, but they want.
But a confirm is like a low key.
Yeah,
like,
I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, no, but that's a really
similar
good point.
to that.
Yeah, it's like
cool.
what is the mood and the vibe and the function of a particular button or where it's placed on the screen.
Yeah, there's a lot of psychology to it, and that is. I don't think I realized that before getting into game dev, the psychology behind the words that we use, and like it's beautiful. What I like about doing it this way, the flavor never, like, it's a consistent flavor every time.
Well, I don't know. I felt like it kind of got a little different. Like, for instance, on the last one, I felt it got a little peppery.
Yeah, it does get different with each steep. That's also a reason why you use the small
to heck
cups.
with my taste buds.
I didn't note the pepper on the first steep. I think what is this, the fourth?
I can taste it now.
I think we're on 4 or 5.
It lingers in my mouth very long. I love it.
I dig it. You know what else I like about this? It's the perfect conversation.
Yeah, it's like
thing.
It's so casual.
It's like the way, it's a nice social.
Something to do. Thank you.
Yeah, I dig it.
Without being distracted.
Thank you. So to speak a little bit about analytics and what that means, player behaviors and there are game designers that can be like, hey, Timber's name could be Gummy Bear, and
do you remember that show?
Fit. Yeah.
Bouncing here and there and everywhere.
Something about their hair. These are the gummy bears.
Okay, not quite. Lost it there in the end. In the middle and the beginning.
I do want to ask this question. So is a passion for, like, are there people who are born with an innate sense of UI, or is it really something that can be trained?
I think it's a bit of both. So one of the things towards my final years at DigiPen, my junior and senior year, I took some user research classes, and one of the hypotheses that the instructor had was that people of certain personality types are more, not saying that other people who aren't those personality types can be designers, but some of them might be might take to the design thinking easier.
Gotcha. I gotcha.
So we did a little bit of research on that.
Interesting.
It turns out that maybe about half of our class was of a certain personality type.
Okay.
But the other half is all over the place.
So they kick the people out.
Yeah, that's how they do it at DigiPen.
Gone.
And they're like, get out.
Oh, you're type B. You have to go now. It's like a sorting hat. It's like a designer's sorting hat.
Yes, I
it's
like it.
You belong in art. You belong in design.
you belong
in
Okay, Professor McGonagall.
Yeah, that's interesting because I do think it is. I do think that there are aspects of various crafts that are within the games industry and the world in general, but that you are helped by having a certain approach or a certain personality, and who knows what does that. Nature, nurture, all that stuff.
But I think that's true for a lot of career paths that people end up taking.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting to see that, like, people who I know who are community managers tend to be of a particular variety.
Yes.
Like, some traits, we tend to be more outgoing and, and like things like that, which just is such a huge boon to the job. And I think that's why people feel comfortable in those
Yeah,
positions. And
I
same
agree.
with any of those.
I agree, and I think that there is, interestingly enough, when you think about what what a community manager does. Classically, what we've done is try to translate what engineers, programmers, designers, what they were trying to accomplish. And we do doodle-doodle-doo, the wizards.
Goodbye. Goodbye. Goodbye.
But traditionally, it was our job to kind of say, hey, this is how this is supposed to work. The addition of UI, like people who are creating a UX or user experience, they have streamlined that process.
Yeah.
So
and they're
that
asking the same questions, and it's
absolutely are.
brilliant.
And it solves a lot of problems, and it
Yeah.
makes a lot of things clearer, and it makes things more fun. I do want to say, are there games or experiences that you've had that are over UI'd? Is there a dark side to the user experience that is, I don't want to say, I'll use this word, but it seems strong to me, exploiting?
Oh, yes. We actually have a term for that in UX design. It's called a dark pattern.
Aha.
Things that kind of force the user's hand to act in a way that would be against what they want to do is called a dark pattern. So things like pop-ups that you're not able to get out of, or redirects in websites that are just out of nowhere.
Interesting.
I actually there's a funny story about that. So I was buying tickets online for a concert, and down at the confirm button, right, there's a little checkbox that said, I want to be contacted about a free trip on a cruise somewhere. Right?
So he's talking about Ticketmaster.
Yeah. Oh, you know.
I know.
Have you clicked the button?
Yeah.
And it goes away.
I love it.
The button, you click the checkbox, and the checkbox disappears. It just transitions down into this void, and you can't unclick it.
And that's it.
And you're just okay.
Wow, that is a
And this
nightmare.
is it's horrible. But that is not only
a
that, but then
dark
it'll be
pattern.
hey, because you did this today, you win, I don't know, a subscription. You're just like, what? I just want tickets. What is this trash?
I was called the next day about
by an aggressive salesperson.
yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, that's a dark pattern. Things that you don't want is.
Wow, that is nightmarish.
So yes, there is a dark side to
Wow.
my job, and I try not to use.
You're
What I
like
like-
a light. You're a light
Yeah.
user.
Yeah.
Light
I'm a
pattern.
Jedi.
Yeah, Jedi.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's a Jedi, but a Slytherin. So
I am a Slytherin.
Yeah.
I mean, I could see that.
Yeah.
Don't tell me Obi-Wan wasn't a Slytherin. Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying. That'd be interesting. Now I'm thinking what everybody else would be. 10 minutes.
10 minutes. Hi, Jester. Welcome.
Yeah. We knew it was Ticketmaster because, I knew because,
Personal experience.
who doesn't like to go to a show and then instead you get
You get called about a
parts,
cruise.
about a cruise that you don't want, to a place that you don't know if it exists, by a
Yeah.
person who's very, very
Yeah.
aggressive.
Yeah, that's always a nightmare.
I actually told them that I was allergic to water and fun. That's how I got out of that call.
I think I
pretty
said, I have Legionnaires. Is it okay if I go on board? So, yeah. I feel like I got tea.
And so is everyone else, and so they were not. They were opposite of Muggles.
Obi-Wan was a muggle.
Let's not try to combine these two universes. I think that's
No, my next
explosive.
cosplay is gonna be my Jedi house. It's just gonna be Harry Potter robes, but yeah, no, that's it. I'm doing it.
With the lightsaber, the color of
and
the
that's
house.
but yeah, that's like my
Yeah.
wand. But I'm
Yeah.
a Hufflepuff, but I also have robes, like
she.
Jedi robes for
Blasphemy.
Says
Hufflepuff.
a she.
This is not the badger you're looking for.
It's not the best.
That's Star Trek.
This is not the Hobbit you're looking for.
That's Star Trek. Oh my God, you're right. Oh, I'll be a Hufflepuff red shirt, just like in
Star Treks.
Star Treks.
And you'll set your phasers to stun.
To
Tickle.
stupefy.
So
man.
back to the
Love
discussion
that
as our time is waning. We're sitting here with Dakota, who is our UI UX designer for Q.U.I.R.K here at UGen.
There we go.
This is Behind the Blocks. We've been talking a little bit about the art of UI UX, a little bit about your history, and in addition,
And
having
tea.
a delightful tea.
I'm so relaxed right now because this.
Do you
tea,
have a
like,
tea? I really am
Yeah.
too. I'm just sort of like
Like,
chill, like
Yeah.
let's hang out. I like it. But do you say like, are we having a tea?
Well,
Or-
I normally just have tea.
You have
But
tea.
I feel like this would be
A
a
tea.
tea.
A
yes.
tea. We're
Okay.
having
A
a
tea.
tea.
We're having a
Like a
tea
picnic,
with
like a-
Dakota.
What is going
Having
on?
a
A
tea.
tea.
We've had a few teas. Is there something else in this tea? What's happening right now?
No, it's just tea.
Just tea.
Just tea.
Pooloops is trying to say that he was sorted into Slytherin. I'm not sure I'm buying it, but
I like that he's like, I'd rather be a muggle. He just left. He's a dropout.
he's just like, I'm done. I'm out. I like it.
So I'd actually, before we go, speaking of
Yeah.
Dakota's work, I just would like everyone to look behind us.
Yeah.
You could see, so this was his, like, we moved in here, and this was like the first thing that he did was create a wall of UI.
Yeah.
But it was a really great way to visualize what we were moving towards
Yeah.
and are moving towards. What's exciting about the work that Dakota has done to help create our mobile experience, we're now able to bring that back to the PC, Mac, and VR experience.
Yeah.
Right now, our focus, because we're a small team, we're focused on doing that mobile stuff,
Yeah.
but we do have some great things coming for PC.
Yeah.
And there are some ways to translate that mobile experience, but it's different though, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I'd say it's especially things like VR. I think VR is like way out of the box, and then going
Yeah.
from mobile to PC is like it's just a different size box.
Okay. Oh, that's
Yeah.
good.
Well, what's weird about VR too is that there are nobody's really cracked the code on what is appropriate.
Yeah.
right.
It's the Wild West
It
of
is.
UI and UX.
Everybody
especially.
has a different way of doing a thing,
Yeah.
and nobody's really settled on it. It's weird. It's
Yeah.
just it's
Yeah.
interesting.
It's
It's
exciting.
fascinating.
Yeah.
Changing like every year.
Every
Every
year,
month or so.
every month or so, new peripherals come out and new ways
Yeah.
to use it because they're really trying to make it so that you're not tied to your computer.
Yeah, like the huge,
yeah.
all the wires
There's
and
the
stuff.
mobile
So.
VR where you put your phone
That's
in.
an entirely different.
So-
Yeah,
Way
interesting.
different.
Yeah, tech
So
is cool.
when you're thinking about your craft, as we kind of move towards the end of the Behind the Blocks, when you think about your craft and what you do, I know earlier in the show you were talking about enjoying learning, and how do you keep yourself in the mix? Like, where do you go? What do you read? What do you like? Do you go home and like artists go home and they art all over the place?
Yeah.
Do you go home and UI UX your house?
Well, hi, Chewy. Chewy just
Hi,
popped
Chewy.
in.
Chewy!
We're hanging out with Dakota talking about UI and UX.
Drinking tea with
Hanging
Dakota.
out, yep.
Dakota's just going to tell us how he keeps his UI UX art honed.
Yeah. So when I go home, I kind of do whatever I feel like it. That might mean sometimes I'll kind of practice my graphic design skills and work
Okay.
on like a print piece or working on logos or something like that,
Yeah.
just for fun, kind of like the artist would.
Yeah, okay.
Right.
Yeah, you are a very talented artist. I didn't quite catch on it until we were doing the wands, and Dakota brought this box of amazing crafts where he was just like making pieces for
Yeah.
Zelda and stuff. So
Yeah.
that was an exciting,
Development.
yeah, revelation
Oh,
about
added a little
Dakota.
texture to, what are we calling him? Bradley?
Bradley,
Yep.
yep.
Thanks.
Good
Richard.
old Bradley.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Richard.
you're welcome. You're welcome.
Oh, Ace wants to know if you guys like the TV show Survivor.
I live vicariously through my mom with that show. I can't watch it because she spoils every episode anyway.
I've never seen it.
I watched it for a while.
I did too, yeah.
I stopped
It's been on
watching.
for a long time.
I could do well on Survivor, I think. I think I'm
Really?
cunning enough.
I'm gonna drink this tea and ignore your question.
Well,
I'm also very smart
No.
and I'm very strong. Physically, and mentally too.
Anyway,
You're the
guys,
best.
thank you so much for hanging out with us today on Behind the Blocks. Any final words or fun facts before we wrap this up?
no, not really. Fun fact: Bradley loves tea.
Bradley
Loves tea.
Hey, I want to give a shout out to everybody who's been watching.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the new follows. Ace, thanks for the great questions. But super thanks to Dakota for hanging out with us. This is such a
Thank
you know
you.
Timber and I like to do all kinds of things, but
Yeah.
really it's important for us to sit down and learn about the various people that are
Yeah.
contributing to the team,
About
and
our colleagues
little
and
family.
yeah.
Really. So I know it's weird to sit and be interviewed by the people you work with, but we love it
The
and
hard
really,
questions.
yeah, really appreciate you sharing some insight into what it is that you do and sharing with the community what it is that we are trying to accomplish on
Yeah.
their behalf.
Yeah.
All right.
You
Thanks for
rock.
having me. Thanks.
Yeah.
Sorry, me and Bradley were having a moment.
I know, right? It's yes, absolutely. So, Timber, tell us what else is happening this week before we shut it off.
All right, before we shut it down, we of
Good.
course have happy hour on Friday, 4 o'clock. This happy hour, we talked a lot about mobile today. And so this is going to be
Yeah.
our very first happy hour. We are going to have Frontline playing our mobile app in studio with his device. So this will be our first mobile happy hour.
Yeah,
Super
it will be.
excited. Yeah. So you guys will be able to get an in-depth look at how our game plays on mobile and what you can expect for our global launch, which we're super excited about. And that'll be starting at 4 o'clock on
That's right.
his Twitch channel, twitch.tv/frontlineplay.
Yeah.
Local buddy of ours, so we're excited to have him.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
And of course, our next stream is going to be Maker Monday, where we focus on you guys, the maps that you're building, and all that good stuff. That will be on the 12th. So that'll be next Monday. So check us out then. And also, our other big announcement is, I'm sure you guys saw on Twitter and on Discord, we did hit our road to affiliate, so we will be going for that. So keep your fingers crossed, so we can get you guys some goodies on top of
That's right.
just
That's
having
right.
a Twitch channel. So,
Yeah.
And thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. Again, this was Behind the Blocks, your glimpse into the developers behind Q.U.I.R.K. So thanks, guys.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Dakota. Bye.
I miss you. I miss you. I miss you. I miss this tea.
I do
mostly.
too.
This tea was really good.
Yeah, I would be really good with some booze in it.
Wow. I think that
Wow,
is
wow.
inappropriate, and I think I'd like to unpack that later. Not right now.
Not right now.